Have you practiced your draw thousands of times and every time it works?
Yes.
But will it work when it matters? Pressure, whether in realistic training or real world scenarios, will expose that oftentimes skills will fail. So let's break down where these failures start, what a consistent, robust draw looks like from concealment, and how your clothing interacts with it all. So failures in your draw don't start with a snag in the clothing, they start with the wrong priorities. So most content out on the internet is going to focus on speed. It's going to be how do you optimize it. It's going to be focused on timer, a sub-second draw. Everything is speed, 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 speed. Speed is a great tool and a great thing you can use to measure the draw, but really what you want is reliability, repeatability, a consistent, robust draw that you know you can execute every single time, not just under optimized dry fire or live fire training, but also in more dynamic situations that you know you're gonna consistently clear that cover garment. You're gonna be able to consistently grip the gun and draw and engage the target that you need to engage. If you're in an entangled fight and it's appropriate to use lethal force, at that point when you are tied to the other person, speed is no longer a priority. The priority is, can you get the gun out at the right time? Timing is more important than speed. And then when the timing is right, you want to make sure that the gun comes out, you clear the cover garment, and there are no issues. So when there is a lethal threat, you can deliver consistent, repeatable shots on target. So this is going to work for any hip carry, both inside the waistband and outside the waistband. So for a hip carry draw, I'm going to attack the gun slightly from the rear and get down on top of the gun for a full firing grip on the gun. From here, I'm going to ride the side of my body and draw up until my shoulder binds. The momentum as I draw up until my shoulder binds will cause the muzzle to come up. When the muzzle comes up, I should be in my thumb pectoral index position, which I can shoot from if I'm in an entangled gunfight. From here, I'll come together to a two-handed grip and then drive the gun out to the target. So if I take this and I have a bottom opening cover garment, there's a few ways to attack the gun. Anytime I clear a cover garment from the bottom, I want to do it as close to the muzzle of the gun as possible so that when I pull up and away, it's actually clearing the garment from the gun, because if I just do it up here, I haven't actually cleared the garment from the gun. So if I'm going to use my support hand, I need to reach across my body and pull up and away to clear the cover garment. The other option is a strong side clear. Here I'm going to grab here on the hem and pull up and then race back down on top. And then the third option is to do a two-handed clear, where basically I'm going to grab here, pull up, and drive down. If I had to think about these in priority, I think a primary hand clear you have to have, because if you're in an entangled gunfight or your support hand is doing something else and it's not available to clear the cover garment, it's catastrophic if you don't know how to do that. The next thing we're going to look at is hip carry for a front opening garment. So whether it's a jacket or a shirt, something where the front is open, you'll see people do all sorts of goofy things, like they'll put weights in their pockets and stuff. So when they swing it, it goes faster or hangs out farther. What I've found is generally I don't like attacking the lower portion because it's going to be in a different spot, and I actually have to move this back further, like the motion it takes to go from here to there, and now I have to race back to the gun. I find that to be less reliable and actually a little bit slower. What I like to do is to rake with my fingers high on my chest. I rake high on my chest back to here, and then I shoot down on top. If you notice here, I'm not fully clearing the gun, but because I shoot down on top, the garment is pushed behind my hand. And then here I can get a full firing grip on the gun. I can draw up into my thumb pectoral index position and then again drive the gun forward and engage the target. So for appendix draw, I'm going to come with not a full firing grip on the gun. Some people like to get their thumb behind, and that is a more positive, consistent grip. But I found if your holster is concealing the gun well, it's hard to get your hand behind there, and I think it's fine to rise it on top. Then as I draw the gun out, my thumb is going to drop down along the tang behind the gun. So I go to grip the gun, I clear the gun until I can get a two-handed grip, and I just drive the gun out. The next thing to address is how do you deal with the cover garment? There's a variety of different ways to do this. Many of them are successful. I'll show you what I like to do and then some other options. So my preference is to use my support hand. I like to go to the hem and claw and pull up. When I do that, I don't do it on this side, I don't do it in the front. I kind of do it over the top of the gun, because the gun is the thing I'm trying to clear the cover garment from. So I come here, I claw and pull up, exposes the gun, allows me to drive on top, two-handed grip, draw to a full firing two-handed grip, and then drive the gun to the target. What's really popular is grabbing the shirt. I definitely don't think it's wrong, it's just not my preference. I feel like the hem is more reliable, particularly if I have multiple layers. I'm able to get underneath all of those layers, pull those things up, out, and out of the way. And there's some people that talk about going to the belly button, and that can work. It's not my preference. I personally wear t-shirts or other tucked in shirts. Some people don't. If you don't ever wear a t-shirt or a tucked in shirt, but I think the belly button thing will work, because what can happen is you go to grab the belly button and then you end up pulling that untucked shirt and you get all sorts of bunched up things here and they just get in the way. So if you want to do the shirt grab thing, my preference is to grab on top of the gun. If you grab on top of the gun, whether it's one layer of clothing or 3 layers of clothing, you're grabbing everything that you need to clear and nothing else so you can pull it up. And so I'm going to grab generally around the slide or the optic of the gun, and I can pull that up and draw and engage a target. Having the ability to do a single-handed clear is really important. I don't think grabbing the bunch and single-handed clear works very well. What happens there is you end up pulling here and you go to try to race down on top, and you're going to end up in a situation like this where you grab shirt and gun, and that then restricts your ability to do things. What I've found that works really well, and I got this from Mike Pannone, was to basically go to the hem and I pull up and I basically move in a circular motion and I sweep back, and I'm pulling the garment back across my body, which kind of pins it, and then I drive down on top of it. From there, I can draw to my thumb pectoral index position, or from here, I can draw to a two-handed firing position or a single-handed firing position and engage. Now, I would say that the ability to do this is really important. I don't think you have to practice it all the time, but you have to for sure know how to do a single-handed clear, and most people should practice more than they do. So even with good technique, garments can still snag. And in the real world, you don't get to just reset and start over. So the last thing we need to talk about is how to deal with a clothing snag without stopping the draw. So some issues with snagging. So you go to clear your cover garment, you don't clear it all the way, you draw the gun up, your thumb gets stuck here. How to get out of that? Just drop the gun out, drive forward. And obviously it's gonna take more time, but it's way better to take that time and not cause the gun to malfunction than it is to just shoot and deal with it and then have to solve a malfunction later on. The next one is going to be here to get your optic stuck. And again, drive the gun down, regrip, and forward. And the third thing is going to be the whole gun is going to get stuck in. Here, what you might need to do is lower the gun and twist it out. So you might need to lower the gun and twist it out, drive it away to make sure it's all clear. You want to do this kind of in a non-diagnostic way. If you come here, you just drive it down and back versus taking the time to look, oh, is it clear? It's clear, and back. It's way faster just to drive it down and back than to try to solve the problem. So the last one is if you grip a handful of shirt with the gun, from here you're going to have to open up your grip to let the shirt fall out, and then you can re-grip the gun and continue on. If clothing can disrupt the draw this easily, the next question is obvious. What should you wear? How do you minimize the disruption? We broke that down in this video, and it might change how you think about concealment.